Repressing sad emotions is not happiness, and it is not the path to happiness. Eckhart Tolle says, be grateful for every moment. And if you can't be grateful, at least allow it to be, because it already is. According to Tolle, this is how we can remove 95% of our suffering. So let's take this a little further. Hi, I'm Heather Kay, Vibrational Attunement Facilitator, guiding you to create the life of your design. When we choose not to resist the experience of any moment and allow the moment to be, we become detached and neutral from the experience. For example, when you see something you don't like, instead of putting a lot of negative energy behind it, saying, I don't like this or I hate this, choose to make it a preference using the words, I do not prefer, instead of I don't like or I hate. All we do is we change out the word like to prefer. This decharges the situation, neutralizes it, and it doesn't stick us to that negativity or stick us in that place of saying and expressing how much we don't like something, because the universe is going to give you more and more of where you put your energy. So if it's into not liking something or something is not working out, the universe is going to give you more and more and more of that situation, which is absolutely the opposite of what you truly desire. The neutral acceptance of a specific moment allows us to receive that specific moment. So if we're experiencing something and we're throwing a lot of negative energy at it, then we're truly not receiving that moment, and life goes by, 20 years go by, and you don't know, what really even happened. But when we take those deep breaths and we experience the moment and take gratitude for what we can or what we are able to take gratitude for, and those things that we're just absolutely not able to find anything to be grateful for, just allow it to be. And you feel that energy, it's more of like this observation energy. It's not being involved in the drama or the negativity. It's becoming the observer and creating that space and detachment from a specific situation. The act of accepting unhappiness dissolves the unhappiness. The act of allowing the unhappiness to be helps dissolve that unhappiness. Allowing and accepting unhappiness is the path to happiness. Unhappiness is unable to coexist with allowance or acceptance. If you observe that you're unhappy, if you allow that to happen, or you are accepting of the fact that you're feeling the emotion of unhappiness, detaches you from being in the center of that unhappiness. So you're observing that emotion. So what does this look like? Instead of beating yourself up that you're not happy, or thinking other people telling you you should be happier and wondering, why am I not happy? Instead of feeling guilty that you're not happy, or feeling even more unhappiness because you think, well, I should be happy. This is not getting you out of that specific emotion of being unhappy. You're just repressing it and trying to become happy. So the first step is just to accept that that emotion is there, that you have that sadness or the unhappiness. And you allow yourself to experience that as the observer of the emotion. Identifying with unhappiness or victimhood is created by an unpleasant narrative. This comes about with recurring thoughts and stories that we tell ourselves. These negative stories will generate more and more of that negativity. And the pattern continues to repeat to the point that without knowing it, you may be searching out events that are falling into that category of that unhappiness. So until we can clear that story, it's a magnet to even more of the same. This narrative or story has a vibrational frequency, and that's what's creating that magnet. These thoughts bring about emotions of the same vibrational frequency, and also brings about situations in your life that match that vibrational frequency. Your physical body believes the thoughts in your mind to be reality. And in this case, you actually become that unhappiness. So that unhappiness that you're thinking about, or that story or the narrative, the negative thoughts that are going on in your mind, you actually are vibrating at that specific vibrational frequency and you become the unhappiness. Then that unhappiness becomes part of your identity. Our inner state determines how we respond to challenging situations. So if we're vibrating at a lower vibrational frequency and we have challenging situations, our response is going to be that of a negative response. And we may find that the situations outside of ourselves actually pulls that vibrational frequency down and down and down. Instead of having that higher vibrational state and those situations are coming in and you can be the observer of your emotions and have the power to actually maintain or hold a higher vibrational frequency while you are in the midst of these challenging situations. Your primary responsibility is to focus on what's going on inside of you. I'll link to my video that I created called Focus Grows, where your focus grows. And in that video, I talk about how your vibrational frequency is your absolute highest priority. It is something that you truly do have the power to control. Nothing is more important than your vibrational frequency. As you see, your personal vibrational frequency helps you determine that response to situations that occur in your life. If you identify with sadness, drama, or negativity, then every situation that you experience in your life is kind of like fuel for victimhood. So this brings us back to the quote from Eckhart Tolle. If we're unable to be grateful for anything or a situation or something that we see in our visual reality, then choose to just allow it to be. To remove yourself from any drama or negative feelings that you may have towards that situation. So if there's no way to be grateful, just allow it to be. And this puts you as the observer again, and not being involved or having your energy pulled into the darkness of the situation. So we're aiming for a neutral state. When we say we don't prefer something, we're not throwing negative energy into the situation. We're actually holding ourselves at a neutral vibrational frequency. And neutrality rings in at 250 for vibrational frequency. Acceptance comes in at 350, so they're really higher vibrational frequency states. The place of neutrality is a place of detachment, so it's not pulling you down into that sadness if we can remain neutral. Neutrality releases that attachment of things that we actually don't have any control over, but we do have control over our vibrational frequency. How do we create this high vibrational state? Praying, meditation are just a few ways to help maintain that higher vibrational state every day, even in the morning time, specifically when you're waking up, to head to a personal meditation or a prayer. I have a Raise Your Vibration guidebook, which I'll link in the description below. And this gives you so many different tools on how you can raise your vibrational frequency on a daily basis. Very simple and very effective. When we're able to clear our thoughts and become the observer of emotions and the observer of our thoughts, we're able to maintain that neutrality state. So as we meditate, that gives us that practice in a calm situation of how to become that observer. When we think of the word indulge, we think of perhaps chocolates, desserts, some of your favorite foods. Well, sadness can also be an indulgence, allowing yourself to stay in that state of sadness. And there can be many reasons for that happening. One, because of a specific situation, you feel like you have no other choice but to feel that sadness. And that if you don't feel that sadness, then perhaps you are not loving a person that's actually involved in a negative situation. But the thing is that your vibrational frequency is more important than a specific situation. So if we let go of the story that we have to be sad to show our love as a form of sadness, then you're able to actually allow yourself to be happy. For example, one may think, well, how can I be happy when there's so many people in the world that are not, and so many people that are going through tragedy? Who am I to be happy? Who are you not to be happy? We are all put on this earth to be happy and to discover that we are definitely infinite beings in the body, which are vibrational frequencies who we are. We're energy. So are you choosing to be in that higher vibrational state? Or are you choosing to go through life in the lower vibrational state? That wasn't the reason why we were put on this earth. So the trick is to catch yourself as you're falling into lower vibrational states and choose higher vibed activities like walking, creating, drawing, cooking, gardening, anything that lights you up, or at least takes your mind off whatever it is that's making you unhappy. So these situations that show up in our lives can be used as a vibrational frequency practice. Every time you feel sadness emotion or anger or any of the lower vibrational emotions, you can see that as, hey, well, okay, that's triggering me. How can I get out of this? And allow yourself to get out of it. Allow yourself and accept that you're feeling the emotion, but allow yourself to get out of it. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to indulge in that negative vibrational frequency. It can be difficult because there could be people around you that you feel like, well, this person is making me feel this way. However, you truly have control over your own emotions. Even when you're in the highest triggered state, that's the universe showing you your blocks and giving you the opportunity to step out of that, to open the door to the higher vibrational frequency and give yourself that power to raise your vibrational frequency. When you're in a situation with a specific person and you're truly triggered and you're brought down into anger, into any type of conflict, that's you giving your power away to that other person. So I know it's a lot easier said than done, but our breath can bring us back and ground us into the higher vibrational state, or at least into neutrality, so we can get into that path to happiness. So that unhappiness, that lower vibrational frequency state, is the way to help us get practice into triggering us into the path of happiness. So if you feel triggered and you run to a bag of chips or chocolate or a glass of wine or whatever it is that you run to in a triggered state, if we could turn that around to use it as a trigger for happiness. As you become more and more aware and able to control your personal vibrational frequency, that is your inner state. That is how you can improve your response or reaction to specific situations. And that also means that your inner state is not dependent upon what is happening around you or what you are currently seeing in your reality. Acceptance and allowance dissolves that unhappiness, and that's that first step into giving you the power to raise your vibrational frequency. The first step is that awareness and being the observer of your emotions, feeling that unhappiness, but not allowing yourself to indulge and stay in that state and move out of the lower vibrational frequency to neutrality, and that's the gateway to the higher vibrational frequencies of love and joy. Wishing you high vibe days, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao!